Today is June 21st, 2022. I am trying to think of what I'm going to talk about. I thought about maybe um, knowing God and a relationship with God. Um, First of all, starting off, you're born and you're a little thing and your parents are taking care of you. Maybe babies all know God when they're little. Not, not because they don't even speak really, they just listen. They observe and listen as a baby. Just like a baby Christian, maybe a baby believer, or someone who starts having faith, I guess. At the start of it, you're just learning and you're listening and you're observing. And you're trying to judge for yourself what you believe the truth is, because there's the way, the truth, and life. The Word of God, Jesus, the Word, He did speak. But others spoke, and the thing with the Bible is other people wrote it down, which is the Word of God. But maybe because it was inspired by the Holy Spirit, maybe. But it was a word spoken by mouths before it was written. So that's by faith, the people with faith, and their experiences in life weren't written down yet. It was all oral. It was an oral type, passed down with the family, the parents to children, and they became parents, and they passed down orally the stories, I guess they told. So they passed down their stories, and they had their experiences. I don't know how anybody recorded all of that stuff up until the time of Moses, when they actually started writing down like words in the Bible, like the law. How did someone have all that knowledge? Did they keep a diary maybe back then? Not sure. If the children of God in the past, from before Noah and after Noah, up until Moses, Joseph in Egypt, and then Moses. I don't know if they, like, how would they know all that stuff in the books? So did God tell Moses everything that happened in the past and he just wrote it down? I don't know. Anyways, we're a baby and we listen and observe, and as a baby believer. And when I was born, I don't know. I guess when you're born, you start learning from other things in the world, so you might fall away when you're little because of all the influences of school and family, and if they believe or don't believe, or if they actually, teach, if they know God or not. They may go to church but not actually know God, but they try to. They're trying to. And I want everyone to know the Lord and be saved. Anyways, I'm growing up, and so once in a while going to church, getting communion, going to like Sunday school at the church, a Presbyterian, I think. My grandparents were Catholics, and my mom, she was in the Presbyterian. I think that's off of the Catholic Church, so it's almost the same, because they say all those things. Then they have like these like breakfast things, like donuts and coffee meetings before or after, I can't remember. It's like they call it the Mass too, just like the Catholics. And so we go there and go to church. Not every Sunday. I don't remember going religiously every Sunday with my parents. They didn't do that. They went once in a while though, at certain days. Like Easter and Christmas. Once in a while in the middle of all those holidays. I believed, I always thought about God sometimes, and like when pets that you love die and you wonder what happened to them. And in my mind I was thinking, I hope kitty went to heaven, like my cat that passed. His name was Jonathan, and he was a great kitty, and I loved him dearly. And he got something happened to him. He got sick and died, and my mother buried him in the yard because we had a house, and you know, the yard, you can bury pets if you want. I guess it's not against the law there. I don't know if people can still bury their pets over there or not. I know we can't do it here, but if you own a house, maybe you can. Because they're worried about stuff from pets getting into the water supply. I'm not sure why. They don't want dead stuff getting in the water. I don't know. They have those water treatment plants too, but they're worried about that. Or maybe they're worried about somebody digging up with the dirt and then finding a dead animal in there. But there's small animals that die all the time on the ground. They just start decaying. Anyways, I got off from what I was talking about. Growing up, going to church once in a while. My pet passed. Prayed when I was going to school on the bus, the yellow bus, the school bus. You know, we'd have to walk to it and catch it to go to a school that's kind of far away. Because I couldn't walk to school. Well, there was one in an elementary school I went close by. I just walked down the street. But when I went to middle school and high school, all that, I had to take a bus, or later in life, my mother drove me to the high school. But sometimes I had to ride the bus there too. Most of the time towards the last years of my high school, she drove me before she went to work and picked me up after work, so that was very nice. And anyways, okay, on the bus I was thinking about my kitty that passed, and also when there's a tornado in our town, I remember thinking about how God protected us. So we run down to the basement from second and third floor. We had to run through all these different floors, and we made it just in time right before it passed over. Scary time. I kind of automatically knew which room to go to. It was like this southeastern is the safest, in the basement. That was like a bar room. We're all huddled in there, protecting ourselves from a tornado. Thankfully, it didn't tear our house apart. Thank God. I think God protected us. My mother was gone. She was at work, so she wasn't there when it happened. Anyways, God was there, and then that was in the 80s. He was around a lot of times. I don't know what else when I was gone and I was in the Navy, military, I was at this train, where was I? I was working. I think maybe I know I was pregnant there, so, I just sensed the presence of God. It was like hovering over me above the buildings. I just felt it. I sensed it. It's hard to explain. Like somebody's watching you from way above. But I felt the presence, so I think it was God's presence. And I hadn't actually, prayed about asking Jesus to come to my heart yet. But I guess God knows everything before it happens, so it's pretty much predetermined, I think. He already knows, since he knows the end from the beginning. He knows all things. He knew that I was going to pray eventually, ask him to come into my heart and change me. And just to think of, it's because of his love that through the people that I was drawn to him. The love he that exudes from his people and their care. They prayed with me one night and at a Bible study, I remember. I can't remember what date it was. I have no idea, but it was before my son was born. Anyways, it was 1987. No, not sure when. Could have been in between January and May, February. We're going to some Bible studies. I got interested in reading the Bible. I hadn't really read too much of it when I was in Sunday school. They did teach us little lessons, and we'd have a treat and a drink, like orange drink with a straw in a milk type container, cardboard. It was nice drinking. I liked it, and we had a treat with it, and we would learn lessons. We just had the it wasn't a pastor, it was the person that gets up there and teaches lessons, I guess, to the congregation, which was like a mass. In between, like, the prayers, that they say something and then the congregation says a line, and they say a line, you say a line. It's back and forth, kind of like that type of thing. I mean, some people are into that, and it was okay for a little while, but I really wanted to know a God who created me, like Jesus, I wanted to know him, the Lord of heaven. And so I got saved and had my son, and then returned home. As I was young, God protected me also. When I was before I had come to know him, I believe God was there for me. Even though I hadn't actually prayed the sinner's prayer, he was there. He was there before I actually did that, so he's been involved in my life throughout my life. Whether I knew it or not, he's there for people, other people too, sinners as well as believers. Because isn't he the one that draws men to himself? He's so great. He's so great. He's above us and all around us. He surrounds his people, protects us. He protected me one night. I was on a Navy base, and I was at a place where they had not a party, but like I don't know what it was. It was a place where there was a dance or something. I was out dancing and having fun. There's music playing, and then I guess the bus didn't run anymore down through the streets of the base there, and I was stuck. And I remember a man offered me a ride to where my barracks were, and I trusted him. Now I know I can't trust anybody. I trusted him, but he didn't take me to my barracks. He could have turned and dropped me off, but he left the base. And he could have turned into the barracks before leaving the base, but he chose to leave the base. I don't know if he was an officer or who he was. Seemed like somebody. It was a different type, not a regular person. And took me some secluded place on some street, and he was asking me to do things, and I didn't want to. And I told him I didn't know what he meant. I was just kind of knew, but I didn't want to tell him. I didn't want to do anything because it felt like it would be like a rape situation. So, and a miracle happened that night. I don't know if God, I know God must have seen what was happening in that secluded place, because all of a sudden a police car showed up right behind him where he was parked with me in his car and saved me from that situation. The police, I think they were angels, actually. The police were angels. I thank God for those police. Who knows what would have happened to me at that day. I had my baby inside my belly. I mean, it wasn't that far along, but, or maybe it wasn't quite yet. This is the base I got pregnant on, so I don't know if I was actually pregnant at that moment or not, but maybe I got pregnant a little later. Anyways, God protected me. The angels, the police were the angels, and they took me back safe to the barracks. I didn't know what to think. I was thanking God, though. Even though I hadn't actually asked him into my heart, I was still thanking God at that moment. Thank you, Jesus, for that. All the times that he's done nice, wonderful things for us, his wonderful miracles in my life and other people's lives. You just think about the smallest things. They're miracles, actually. He provides. He provides. Like when he provided that, a sacrificial lamb or something up on that mountain where when that guy was going to sacrifice Isaac or something. Abraham, was that Abraham? Yeah, I think so. And God provided it right at that moment, and he told him not to kill him. So God didn't want him to kill him, he's just testing him. So God's been with me and protected me, provided for me. Other times I've later in getting to know him, reading his word, trying to understand it, asking some people that I met about it, them explaining it to me, if they knew, pretty much like a teacher of the word, in person, led by the Spirit of God, the truth, helped me understand certain parts of it, and other knowledge that is more outside of that too, because you can learn more other stuff besides just the Bible, like existence, in a circle, I guess, of existence. Like there's different parts of existence, like your present existence, like when you're alive, and then there's probably a couple other existence types, like maybe before you're born existence, pre-existence, and maybe after. I'm not sure. Like if you're existing somewhere else outside your body after you die. And so that would also be a pre-existence. It would be both after and before, if you were like born again, like into another body, like reincarnation. So I think it's more important to know God if you're born again. Since your parents name you, your name comes from your parents. They give it to you. I give my children their names, and my mother and father give me my name, and my sister, and you know, other people got their names from their parents. You didn't name yourself. It's still your name though, but we have probably, I don't even know what my real name is, if that name I am associated with right now. Anyways, relationship with God is the most important thing in the world. What's going on? Whoa. Okay, let's see. How else can you explain it? Like like there's a lot of experiences I've had with people and meeting even strangers seeming like they're from God somehow. And it's hard to explain. Like the angels thing. Talking about angels, like one time I saw something when I was on a swing and I saw something up in the sky. I didn't know what it was. It looked like, when they describe the four angels flying beside each other, like the Spirit of God. I don't know if all angels have white wings, or do they? I'm not sure what angels. Some angels might be little tiny angels like fairies. Fairies might be like little angels, and like other angels might be like little kids, and they have little wings and on their back, kind of like translucent type. One time I saw that it looked like a butterfly. It was so shiny. It was like all light, made of light, I think, and it was near a house when I was walking somewhere on the sidewalk, or I was just looking out over there and I saw it. So I don't know if those people had something hanging on their outside area by their house, or if it was like a flying light butterfly, it was just made of light, like rainbow lights. And, since, our eyes are good, if our eyes get opened, and we might be able to see some of the things in heavenly that comes down to earth, like the whole world will become beautiful with rainbow colors, and like a sheet let down from heaven, a sheet of a rainbow of light down to my window where I had a curtain, but it was a rainbow of light coming that I saw come down to where I was living at the time. And that was in a dream. That wasn't when I was awake. But then there's times when you're awake when you see things. So like that butterfly looked like a butterfly made of just light, like rainbow colors. And then other times, dreams, sometimes you wonder if you're awake or you're not. Because I've seen, like, one time I saw this, I know I saw it by Salvation Army on the grass before they changed it. When I was walking by, I saw out of the corner of my eye, I saw like a person laying there all in white, shiny white gown. Like an angel or something, just lying, relaxing on the grass. But when I looked back, it wasn't there anymore. It was like in my vision as I walked past, but as soon as I looked back, it wasn't there. And then one time I saw these two men. They had gowns on and they had like white hair, beards. I don't know who they were, but they waved at me, and they had these sandals on, like those ancient type sandals that people might have worn in the past, and they were just standing by a building and aside, as I was walking that way. And cause I don't know if I was going shopping or going to a church or what, but they were just standing there. I noticed they waved at me, and then I just walked past. I went back to them because I was curious. Curiosity got the best of me, so I thought about them. I thought, who were they? So I went back and I approached them, and when I talked to them, I asked them if they needed any help for some reason, and they said, why would, what they said to me, why would we need any help? And like their eyes, the pupil part, it was full of light, like white light, and that's all. And then I just left after that. Um, and let's see, I dreamed about places like, one time I dreamed I went to this place. I had these things, I went up to it and it seemed like it transported me back to a past part of my life, because in your mind you have memories of your past. All your experiences are in your mind from baby childhood all the way up to present day, and you don't remember them all, but until I actually, it seemed like I visited my own self. Like I got transported back into my own childhood self in my dream, in this place I was at. Um, and I was looking up at my grandma, who was, I was like near her closet, where she had a closet of things like games and all that stuff, like the board games you play. Um, and remember, it was weird because I was in my childhood body, being small, looking up at my grandma. And that's all I remember, is that's how I went to the past in my mind, I guess. Knowing God, Part 2. It's June 22nd, 2022 now. Let's turn over from 12 midnight to first or second hour afterwards. Now I'm sitting on my bed relaxing, and I'm gonna pray. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. How does that go? If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. I think that's what it was. You learn those kind of little prayers when you're a kid, or like at church, or somehow you learn it. Like when you learn nursery rhymes and you learn things, all those old fairy tale things when you're a kid, because your parents read books to you. You have all the books and stuff. The stories that they dumbed down the stories for kids back then, make them happy endings and stuff. They didn't have really deep and into it, and nowadays it's a lot different with the fairy tales. They seems like it make it darker, not as happy, and like fairy tale is happy as, like, yeah, it's the way they've been making stories isn't as happy now. I watched a kid on YouTube. Somebody recorded him talking about the Mandela effect, and he's a genius kid, and he's trying to explain it. I think it was from 5 years ago, before all this stuff happened, and he was explaining about how, with the people experimenting with the Hadron Collider and stuff, that with just one atom out of place or messed up, that it would cause us to jump to a different alternate reality next to ours. Like, all of us instead of just vanishing and not existing anymore, our whole timeline jumped to a different alternate next to our other timeline. That's why a few things have changed. It's similar, but it's a little bit different. That's why some things have changed. We remember certain things, and they aren't like that in this timeline, I guess. Like, I know that when you go to a different timeline, I don't think you can get back to the old timeline. I don't think so. I think it's possible. And people just accept it as, well, I think of it as just like maybe they just changed it because of digital stuff. Like also heard about this one movie, a computer anime movie. I forgot what it was called. Well, they changed certain situations and parts of the movie for different countries that have different scenes of like maybe it'll be in English in one country and it'll be in Japanese in another country. Like they can change titles or animations of a few of them and how they read from right to left, or if the country reads from left to right, they'll change it that way. We read left to right, others read right to left, so they'll change a few of the animations just to make it fit a certain country wherever they're from. Whatever they like, if they like football or they like soccer, they'll change the scene for the country that likes whichever sport. I thought that was interesting. Yeah, that was really good. It was a computer animated movie that I saw on Netflix, I think. Let's see. So, I was talking about praying because I'm just getting ready to rest. And sometimes when you're in the moment, you're happy, you don't know exactly. You're praying that, you're hoping and praying. You know that God's got your back and everything, but you're not sure. So, like when you're tired, you gotta just relax and go into your dream state. Pray that God has you in that state too. I'm pretty sure He mostly does. And He protects us in our dream state. And I'm thankful that He's always there for us, no matter what we go through. So to know God's, I know that saying, to know me is to love me. So to know Him is to love Him. If we love God with all our hearts, our minds, our whole being, love Him, then we know Him. And it's like your relationship with, like when you're married or something, or your family, that most of the time you care and love for your family, something like that. That kind of closeness with God, though, not just with just regular people. It's hard to believe that, like, the Creator would limit Himself into just like a body like we have, or even us, if we passed away and we were higher above the earth looking down, we would even limit ourselves into a body or a character like in a game, just to go live through that experience. Maybe while we're in it, it's slow, but when you're doing a game, the character's lives go so fast compared to what you're looking at as yourself living your life. Your life is a lot slower than the character's lives on the game. So I wonder if that's what it's like if our higher self looks upon our lower self as in this body. To us, it feels slow while we're in it, but to our higher self, it looks down upon us and sees ourselves going through this. To them, it's fast, but to us, since we're in here, it's slow. We can't be in both places at once, I don't think, but if you have a higher self, and maybe it could be like how someone's cellular information can the other self far away will know what the other one has experienced or something. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Anyways, I'm tired. I'll talk about that knowing God more later. Okay.